What's up, YouTube? I'm Conjelly. Welcome to ComiKon. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Hope everybody's having a great start to their 2021. It's only a few days in, but hopefully it's better than 2020 was already. I don't know. I just wanted to do one more video kind of looking back on 2020 and some comics that I picked up that I considered my best pickups of 2020, the comics that I'm most happy with the purchases. So these aren't necessarily the most valuable comics that I have, although some of them are, but they were just the ones that I thought were worth making a note of and look when I was looking back. So I've got some raw books and I've got some graded books. I'm going to start with the raw books. So here we go. First up, Something is Killing the Children, #1. So I picked these up a few months ago. This is the first printing, cover A of issue 1, which I got when it came out. This is not like I wasn't catching up on it or anything like that. But Midtown Comics restocked their copies of issue 1A. They labeled these near mint and they sold them for $40. So I picked up a couple. The one of them is probably in a 9.6-ish condition as it is. The other one's in a 9.4, but I think with a press they could get to a 9.8. The copy that I got from my LCS is definitely a 9.8 candidate. So I'm really happy with this, just because I'd like to have a 9.8. I don't necessarily want to have all of them graded, but would like to have a 9.8 copy. So my plan is to send a bunch of my Something is Killing the Children books in with a 9.8 pre-screen. And that way I can get the books back in a 9.8 that aren't, and just have raw books of the rest. So yeah, for $40, these weren't bad at all. Near mint copies are selling for 200 plus. So pretty good pickup if I do say so myself. So that was the first one. Next up, notice a little theme here. So this is Something is Killing the Children. This is issue number 8. The 1 in 25 Jeff decal variant. So this is the second copy of this I've owned, and the first one I got off of eBay. I think for like $60 before it got really big. It was about, I think I got it for about $60, and it was described as near mint, and there were a couple pictures, but not a ton of pictures. And when I got it, there was spine damage that you couldn't see in the pictures and wasn't advertised. And it was really annoying, because I knew that the issue that I had would not be near mint, or that it wouldn't get graded near mint anyway. It wouldn't get a 9.8. Probably wouldn't even get, it'd probably be like a 9.2, because there was some pretty significant damage to the spine. So I was able to find this one on eBay for $150, which at the time was fairly significant, but I don't think it was the highest price for it. But it had a ton of pictures and it looked incredible. And I'll throw up a scan, but there's no damage to this. I've gone through it. It looks like it could be a 9.8 without a press, and so I'm really happy with that. And then the book that I had, I ended up selling, fully disclosing the damage to the spine with great pictures showing everybody, what it was. I ended up selling that for $100. So I really ended up picking this up for $50, which, in the end is not that bad. Especially since right now, a very fine copy, kind of similar to the one that I had, just sold for $180, and a 9.8 graded copy just sold for $500. So a $50 upgrade to a 9.8 candidate, not a bad deal. So that's the second good pickup of 2020. Next up. Hey, look, it's another Something is Killing the Children. So this is issue 6. This is the Jenny Frison 1 in 20 variant, I believe. This is one of the hardest covers to find, mostly because there was not a ton of orders for issue 6, at least not a ton where people got this incentive variant. And so it's really difficult to find, definitely difficult to find, for sale, because once people get it, they're not getting rid of it. I bought it in a set of every cover of issue 6 for $175, which sounds like a lot, but the reason why I paid that much is because it's flawless. Like there's nothing wrong with this book. I mean, I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if I got this grade and I got my first 9.9, because that's how good this book looks. That being said, I know that that's not going to happen. If I do send it off for grading, I do fully expect a 9.8 for this. And raw copies of this in near mint condition are selling for over $300. So I don't know what a 9.8 would sell for right now, because they're just not out there. They're not available. But easily one of the most expensive books in Something Is Killing the Children. So the fact that I got it with a bunch of other books for $175, that I think if I sold all of those, I probably would end up spending less than $100 for this. So that's not bad. Pretty good pickup, if I do say so myself. All right. Next up, first graded book. Let me take it out of the bag for this. Hey, look at that. It's Something Is Killing the Children. So this is a copy of issue 1. It is signed by Jay Lee. It is the New York City ComiKon Oasis Comics exclusive. So this is the sketch variant of the B cover. There were only 500, I believe, printed of this one. I also got this on eBay, early last year. I paid $100 for it. I sent it off to CBCS, came in at 9.8, authenticated the signature, which is awesome because I didn't even get this pressed. That's how good it was. And right now, unsigned 9.8 copies are selling for over $500. So it's a pretty good pickup right there. I think the grading with the signature verification cost me around $40. So $140 all in, and over 500 for current sales. If I wanted to sell it, I could make pretty good money off of it, but I don't really want to sell it because I have every single issue cover variant for Something Is Killing the Children, every single one that's been made, every printing, everything. So I don't plan on selling any of those anytime soon. So let's see. Next up. So this is Amazing Spider-Man number 688. It is the J. Scott Campbell variant, the Lizard variant. And it's signed by both J. Scott Campbell and Stan Lee. And this is my only Stan Lee signed book. And I know that, Stan Lee didn't, have anything to do with this particular book. He didn't, have anything to do with the writing or anything like that. But, he did create Spider-Man. So he had help, but, he helped create Spider-Man. So, so this is the first Stan Lee and only Stan Lee signed book that I have. And so this is actually the second copy of this book that I had in a 9.6. I had the same thing, just signed by J. Scott Campbell in a 9.6. And this came up for sale, and I don't remember exactly what I paid for. But I snatched it up and then sold my copy without the Stan Lee signature for the exact same price. So I ended up getting a copy of the book with a Stan Lee signature and the little Stan Lee label, which whatever, but for no charge in upgrading, because I got all my money back from the previous book. So it's really cool. It's a great cover. I actually I don't know why it's a 9.6. Obviously, I can't see the interior, and there's no grader's notes because CGC is not that great on grader's notes. There are a couple minor spine ticks. My guess is if I actually sent this in to CGC and got it pressed, it probably could get a 9.8, which for this book would skyrocket the value. It's pretty valuable as it is, but a 9.8 is, I think, double the value. So I don't really plan on doing that though. I just wanted a Stan Lee autographed. I like J. Scott Campbell's art, and this is a good example, or a great cover that he's done. So wanted to have that. So yeah, there's another one. All right. So I got two more for you. This one is Amazing Spider-Man 648. This is another J. Scott Campbell variant cover. And this is pretty hard to find. It doesn't come up for sale all that often, and when it does, it's quite expensive. I actually found this at a local comic shop, and I paid about $200 for it. It had a little bit of damage, just some spine ticks and a little bend, but nothing that I thought couldn't press out. So I did send it off to get pressed and then graded at CBCS, and it came back a 9.8, which is pretty awesome because a 9.8 of this just sold for $1,600. This is officially the most expensive book that I own, which to me is crazy. So I was not planning on selling it, but I don't know. That's a ton of money, and there's a lot of other books in the Amazing Spider-Man run that I would love to be able to get. So I might actually put this up for sale. Again, a couple $100 that I spent. I spent, I don't know, $15 on the pressing and another, less than $20 on the grading. Actually, no, this was part of my membership of CBCS. So technically the grading was included with that. So I didn't pay specifically for this grading. So that's a pretty healthy profit off this. I don't know. I really was not planning on selling it, but it might be too tempting. So we'll see. But anyway, yeah. All right. And now my favorite pickup of 2020. Take it out of the bag. So this is Amazing Spider-Man #1 in a 9.4. Now it is the Golden Record reprint. This would be a book worth, tens of thousands of dollars if it was actually probably even more than that if it was the original in a 9.4. But this one was released in 1966, so just a couple years after the original came out. Really, the only difference between this and the original is there's no price on the cover. So much glare. I'll put up a scan, but the original cover had a 12-cent price on it, and then the back is an ad for the Golden Record sets. So basically, what this is Marvel put out, the Golden Record Company, I believe, put out some records along with comics. So they had the story of the record, or story of the comic on the record, so you could listen to the record while you read the comic. And there were, I think, 3 or 4 of them that were done. And one of them was Amazing Spider-Man #1. So yeah, this one I got for, I think a pretty good price. I don't really want to say how much I paid for it because it was expensive, but for the quality of the book, I thought it was a good deal, and I know that I'm never gonna get Amazing Spider-Man 1, the original, in such a high grade. So having this is pretty darn close. So this is probably my favorite book in my collection right now. It looks great. It's an iconic story. The only thing about it is it's got some Newton rings from CGC. It's kind of hard to see on the video, but right on Spider-Man, there's some Newton rings, which if you don't know what those are, I'm going to do a video in a little while that it kind of explains the differences in the grading companies. I'll go over what Newton rings are, but but all that being said, this is easily the jewel of my collection right now, even though it's not the most valuable, because this Spider-Man right here is the most valuable. Crazy. But yeah, anyway, so those were my favorite pickups of 2020. I had a lot of fun with comics in 2020, and especially Something Is Killing the Children. I really made a point to make sure I got every printing, every issue, every variant of Something's Killing the Children, and I've got that so far through everything that's come out, issue I think 13, and everything that's been available for sale through I think 14. So I'm only going to do that for issues 1 through 15 because there's so many store variants now that it's really hard to keep up with that. There's 4 or 5 for every issue. It's just too many. So, but for the first Erica Slaughter novel is, I think, what James Tynion called issues 1 through 15. I think if I have every issue printing variant of that, I'll be happy, and then I can go with just the A covers and anything I find interesting moving forward. So yeah, those are my favorite pickups of 2020. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know if you had a favorite, and I will catch you at the next Comic-Con. See ya.